William.
I'm Carie.
Our channel is going to be called Joy in the Journey. We've thought a lot about doing a video. It's something that's kind of on our heart, just with all the negative stuff in the world. We wanted to kind of show something that's positive, and we wanted it to be really structured well and all that kind of stuff, and kind of realized that if we kept going at that rate, we were never going to do it. So now we're just going to launch it.
Because the reality is there's always struggle, and that's why we wanted it to be named Joy in the Journey, because you sometimes have to search for the joy. You kind of have to look for it amidst the struggle. And so yeah, if we would have waited till we had it all perfect, then we would never be ready.
Something that comes to mind is Christ said that when he left his disciples, that peace I give you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. And I think that peace that kind of passes all understanding is something that we can have as followers of Christ, but we do have to seek for it. And then it's amazing. It does happen. It's a real power that you can tap into in your life.
So we just wanted to introduce ourselves and to get the channel going. We'll obviously be posting a lot of videos. We have a lot of videos from the last couple of months, but we wanted to start off to explain why we're in an RV, why we decided to move into an RV 3 months ago, almost to the day.
Which was mostly COVID. Due to COVID restrictions, we owned a personal training business in Denver. And just with all the restrictions and things like that were placed, we eventually just had to shut down. We tried to have a lot of our clients move to remote training, which happened pretty well. Before that, I got into a motorcycle accident.
It's kind of been a busy year for us.
February 2nd, I went down on the bike, and it was bike versus guardrail at 65 miles an hour, and I survived, and we survived, but I was in the hospital for
just over 2 weeks. So it was a long haul, and our church congregation stepped in so much and just offered so much love and support, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. We are forever indebted to them, and of course to God for helping us through that. And it wasn't just a few weeks after William got home from the hospital that COVID hit and Denver kind of shut down, and we had hired a trainer to take over the 40-something clients that we had, and he was rocking it and just doing an awesome job. And then the studio had to shut down, and we just were never able to recover. We weren't able to get back into the studio space until September, and by that time we had lost those 40 plus clients down to I think like six
or seven
maybe.
Yeah.
And then we could never recover, and we were faced with the financial decision of either moving far away and still maybe not able to make rent. If anybody lives in Colorado, you know how expensive it can be. Or William, after much prayer, just felt either inspired or crazy and said, let's talk about moving into an RV so that we can travel. And we thought about it for about 5 seconds, because that's all the time that we had. I think we had to move out of our apartment within 2 weeks, and just chose to move into the RV and try it and travel and see how it would work and see what God could lead us to do for a door that opened that we never would have even looked at. All right, so round 2, because of course it can't just be that the video works awesome the very first time. So
the video cut out there. What I was going to say was, when we started looking at RVs, or when I started looking originally, it was just to be less expensive and possibly be able to travel around a little bit. That was before I knew really anything about them and how nice they can be. So we purchased one that needed to be a little bit updated. It was all brown and dark inside and all of that. It had some modifications that we really liked and such, but anyway, so we bought it and decided to remodel it, and I'll show you a lot of the remodel stuff. I have all the befores. We haven't really taken any of the afters yet because I'm not quite finished, because other things just keep coming up. But I will get to it eventually. I know I will.
Well, and as many of you have lived through remodels in your own homes, it can be quite the pain. I can tell you that living in 300 square feet and trying to remodel while it was, snowing outside and windy and freezing cold, I don't think I would ever choose to do that again. It felt pretty cold, and it was super, super windy. We put our stuff in a tent, and there were a couple nights William and I went out at 1 a.m. to literally just I think we threw our new Jeep bumper on the tent because we were trying to save the tent from blowing away with the 60-mile-an-hour winds that we were experiencing.
Which we did. Crazy enough.
We saved the tent.
I mean, that thing was being blown all the way to the ground. It was insane.
Which reminds me, I need to do a review on that Ozark Trail tent. It was pretty spectacular. But yeah, our stuff had sand in and out of everything, but the tent survived. Not one thing broken.
Yeah, don't be scared of the instant tent. It is definitely awesome.
So we spent 2 months almost on William's parents' and brothers' land, trying to do the remodel and trying to get ready to leave, waiting for parts on the Jeep for towing. It just was a long 2 months.
Yeah, we thought that it was going to be like 2, maybe 3 weeks, but it was like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah. Leaving, our first goal, of course, was October 1st. That came and went, and then November 1st, and then Thanksgiving, and I think we finally got to leave December 2nd. So it was a long haul.
And not really fully ready either.
Yeah.
I mean, there were still a lot of loose ends and stuff like that. There's still a lot of loose ends. I was able to replace 2 hydraulic hoses in the back of the rig, but the front of the rig, there's no space to get there, so you have to take the hydraulic system out, replace the hoses, and put it back in, which I tried yesterday. About the same time, I think that a pipe or something broke underneath the sink and started leaking water everywhere.
So that's after. So right now, just to catch up on speed, right now we're in Arizona in Camp Verde in a nice RV resort. We thought that it would be helpful. We spend the majority of our time boondocking, which means you're not plugged into power or water or electric, and so it's just all self-contained. And after all the issues and struggles that we've had the last couple of weeks, we thought it'd be nice to be in an RV resort where we can just be hooked up. And that's after we went to Idaho to see our oldest daughter. She's 19. She's living up there in Rexburg, Idaho, and we just were so excited to be there, to boondock, and I think
show them a good time too.
Show them a good time, and I think it was the second night that we couldn't get our generator working, and the house battery died because the fridge fried it, so the fridge doesn't work. And then during the night, because the house battery was dead, our heat wouldn't turn on, and just before we had gone to bed, we had a leak in the stove, which thankfully William was able to cap. He wasn't able to fix it, or else we probably would have died.
After I got a little lightheaded trying.
Oh yeah, and our fresh water froze. The lines froze, so we didn't have any fresh water coming through.
So at that moment in time, I was basically playing a game of what will kill my family the quickest and try to fix that problem first, which was gas, then water, electric,
Heat,
Fridge.
fridge.
It's kind of a toss-up in some of those areas.
So we tried to stay in Rexburg to spend time with our daughter as long as we could, but after 3 days, we realized we have to leave. So we headed south to Salt Lake to see some family, which we were grateful to because none of our problems were fixed. It was still too cold in Salt Lake to be able to fix any of our issues. We did, though, get the generator started on a 40-degree day, which was nice, and ever since then our generator has been working. So we're grateful. We're definitely grateful for that. And we headed down south to southern Utah, Zions National Park, which we were so excited for warm weather, and then the cold weather just followed us there. They had snow and freezing rain for the first time in years.
I was filling up the propane tank, and the guy was telling me that he could fill up the propane. He was like, I think the only restrictions have to do with lightning strike. He was like, honestly, it never snows here, so we don't really know what to do with this. And I'm like, well,
okay,
we brought it with us.
Yeah. So we're, and that's what it comes down to, right? Like you can focus on all the problems that you have. Not that you can't focus on them because they don't go away, but you can either focus and dwell on them, or you can just decide to find the joy and the fun and all of it. And we're grateful that our 2 younger kiddos have such an eye for that. They were so excited to be running around through the Red Hills in southern Utah and in Zions and finding whatever they can in dirt, just mud. Our kids love mud.
Well, and as far as fixing the problems and having all the problems that come up in your life and how you handle that, do it angry and frustrated, or do it joyful and peaceful. You're gonna do it regardless. So
Right. It made me think of somebody the other day was talking about the past and said hindsight's 2020, and it instantly made me think of this year, 2020, and I thought about how 2020, I wear glasses, William wears contacts, our son wears glasses, none of us see perfectly, and whenever you're referring to seeing perfectly, it's called 2020, and I just didn't think that there was any mistake, that all of the struggles that we've experienced, you've experienced, the whole world has experienced this year, it wasn't coincidence that it happened in 2020. I think it's a gift that God has given us to decide for ourselves. It's a choice. Are we going to choose to look back on this year as the year that we gained clarity, the year that we gained insight, the year that we gained a vision of what matters most? Are we going to look back on this year and say, yeah, you know what, that was the year that I was open, my eyes were opened to see perfectly and to see clearly on those things that matter most. And I am just really grateful for that. It's hard. There are days that I feel like crying. There are days that William feels like he wants to beat someone up. I mean, there are those days. There are those days, but at the end, you just want to make sure that you are taking the opportunity to choose to find the joy in the journey.
Like yesterday, for example, or last night, I'm going through some text messages, responding to some clients, and a mouse comes up and takes off underneath the slide. We've never had mouse problems, but this morning it seemed like there was 4 or 5 of them scurrying around underneath the slide, which I took like a man.
It just gives me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, Carie was a little freaked out, but
yeah. Did you scream like a girl?
No. Right up underneath there. Careful. You see anything?
No. It's dark.
Sure? Like a man.
Like a man. He screamed like a man.
Like a man that's, mildly freaked out by little rodents.
It's super creepy. So we will add that to the list. That's a common saying. Our children are getting used to that.
Some things are pretty low on the list. The tough times don't laugh, but tough people do. And the only way that you can be tough is to go through it. Life is easy all the time, and you don't really have that opportunity to struggle and to get stronger. And that's true in physical fitness, and it's true in life. So count it all blessings. If you're having a really joyful time right now and life is easy, enjoy that. But then also have the courage to continue faithful when times are not easy, because that's the time that the Lord's blessing you as well. The God or the universe, or however you want to say it, is bringing that into your life to help you to become stronger, to become something better. Do it frustrated and angry, or do it joyful and peaceful. Either way, you're going to do it.
We choose to find joy in that strength that comes from struggle. I'm not going to lie, there are some days that I wish the list wasn't so long, but I know He'll give us the strength to conquer each of those on our lists.
And who knows what He's preparing us for, and who knows what He's preparing you for. Whatever it is, let's take it in stride. We look forward to showing